Yeah, old lady's gone, I guess. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. Guess I'm just gonna have to make my special coffee. Yeah, buddy. Ain't nothing better than a little bit of the juice to get you flowing in the morning. I hope she don't never find out about this. She'll have me by my, you know. Yeah, boy, I tell you what. Sure do like it when the old lady's gone. Man. Ain't nothing like a good kick of shine in your coffee first thing. Sure does get your day started. Oh, hey! I didn't know Yins is already sitting there. Kind of funny, though. Y'all ain't got to tell her about special kind of coffee I'm a-drinking now, do you? Okay. Whew. Man, that's a relief. I thought I was going to have to spend another week out in the doghouse. Wouldn't be so bad, but he needs a bath. Well, anyway, y'all do know that I do like my coffee. And I got a couple of stories for you, but I want to start off with Brandin. Now, some of y'all ranchers and y'all farmers, y'all know about Brandin. Y'all know everything about what happens for Brandin. For you uneducated city dwellers, there's lots of stuff goes on during Brandin. There's usually, you get out either the day before or early. I'm talking like 4 o'clock in the morning, going out and rounding up the cattle. You get the daddy cows, the mama cows, the baby cows, even some of them what would be considered teenage cows, which them some guns are sometimes hard to wrangle up. But anyway, you get them all, and you get them into, at least the ones you want, the ones that need the branding, which is typically the young'uns, less than a year old, both male and female. You get them into this corral or small field, whatever you got. I mean, most folks put them in a corral. And then there's this little chute that they put them in to give them their inoculations, so they don't get sick. Little thing comes up, well, first they run them into this little thing, and it comes up and goes around their necks to keep them from jumping around and all this other stuff, because when they get squeezed like that, it makes them feel comfortable. So they calm down a little bit, because, there's been a lot of stuff going on, so they kind of scared. They ain't been around stuff like that yet. Anyway, so then somebody comes over and gives them inoculation with a needle about this long. Well, I don't like needles, and it probably ain't that big. But to me, it looks like it's that long and that big around. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I hate needles, but I love my coffee. Anyway, back to the story. Another thing they do is they take them little boy cattle, calves they call them, and they'll take them and they'll rope them around their legs and lay them down. Then they'll take that hot brand, stick it to them. Of course, now it hurts the little cows, but it don't hurt for that long. Anyway, after they stick that brand to them, they usually either slather on or spray on this stuff that helps stop the burning feeling, and it also helps keep it from getting infected. Which, now the thing is, you got to have brands. If you don't have brands on your cattle, well, your horses too, really. If you deal in a lot of horses, they gonna get stole. Now, there ain't nothing worse than a horse thief or a cattle rustler. Now, I'll shoot you if you a cattle rustler. I'll shoot you right between the eyes if I can get close enough, or I got a good enough scope and you standing still long enough. Either way, I just don't. Well, let's move on here. Just don't like cattle rustlers. Anyway, the other thing that gets done with them little male baby cows or calves is after they get branded, right away while they got them down, a cowboy will step over who's in charge of doing this, and he'll take a good sharp knife, and he'll, how shall we put it, demasculate that little calf. Turns him from a male cow to, well, in the monastery they used to call them eunuchs. Anyway, so they castrate the cow. Now, what they do is they'll take them things and they put them in a bucket. I'm trying to keep this just as G-rated as I can. I don't want to say nothing about they cut their balls off and throw them in a bucket, but that's what they do. Now, once the bucket gets pretty full, like 2/3, 3/4 of the way full, and this is usually a 5-gallon bucket on your average size ranch. Anyway, some of these cowboys will fight over that stuff. That's, some of y'all don't realize them things taste good. I know what you're thinking. Ew, I couldn't eat no bull's balls. Well, have you ever been into some of these restaurants, fancy or no, and seen on the menu mountain oysters, and then you ordered them things? What do you think mountain oysters is? Mountain oysters are them balls that they cut from them cows. They take them, they wash them, they batter them up, different kind of ways, and then they fry them in grease that's about 350, 370 degrees. And I'm going to tell you something. When them things turn golden brown, oh, that's the best. Oh, my. Take your choice of any kind of dipping sauce you want. If you want heat, get you some hot sauce. Dip them fellers in there, pop them in your mouth. Ain't nothing better. You don't even need a fork. Use your fingers. Pick them puppies up, throw them back. Of course, some people are just a little on the crazy side, and they prefer to use, I'm almost afraid to say it, ketchup. Now, I don't want to diss on nobody, don't want to hack on nobody, but if you take delicious mountain oysters and cover them with ketchup, you deserve to be slapped. Anyway, you take them things, and you're supposed to dip it in a good hot barbecue sauce or jalapeno sauce or cayenne sauce, or It's got to be some heat to it, in other words. Ketchup ain't going to cut it. Now, sometimes I like to have my mountain oysters with some hot honey mustard. Now, I'm going to tell you something. That sweet against that hot, oh, my word, that's something. I tell you what. Listen, I got a story to tell you about my two boys. It was a long time ago. Of course, me and their mom had been apart for a long time, and they used to come out and visit me for the summer. Well, it just so happened they come out one time after Brandin. So anyway, I told them one day, right before they was going out, they're going to go ride their bicycles all up and down the street and go to this big park that's up the road a ways, and they's going to ride around the park. And I told them what time supper was, and I told them, I said, look, we're going to have us a really, really special delicacy for you guys tonight for supper. I ain't got a lot of it, so what they is all they's going to be, because they only come in season about once a year. What is it, Daddy? I said, well, I ain't going to tell you. Y'all just going to have to make sure you're here on time for supper, and I'll show you. So anyway, they went on out, and later on that day, I commenced to cooking. I got some mountain oysters that I had frozen and thawed out. Anyway, got them things all cleaned up, made up my batter, dipped them things into the batter, threw them into a frying pan, got them all golden brown, twisting, turning them over constantly. My mouth is watering. Anyway, when them things got done, I heaped them all up on a great big old platter, about that high. I mean, there's just mountain oysters everywhere. But now that's all I had, because, I kind of lost some of the fight about getting some of the mountain oysters out of that bucket that year. Anyway, so I just finished cooking my elk steak about the time they walked through the door. Now, mind you, I like my elk steak just about as much as I like my coffee. But I was going to be determined that them two boys was going to let me have at least a handful of them mountain oysters, because I'd done made up some sauce. I made like 5 different kinds of sauce. I had a cayenne sauce. I had a jalapeno sauce. I had a sweet jalapeno sauce, which that's kind of based off of a jalapeno jelly recipe, sort of, kind of. But it's a sauce. And then I had some of that hot honey mustard. And then I also fixed some chipotle ranch. They had a choice of dipping sauces. As a matter of fact, each one of them could get all 5 dipping sauces and take them mountain oysters and dip them and try whichever sauce they liked the best. Didn't matter. So we commenced eating. My boys, it was like vultures on a dead deer in the middle of the road. All them dadgum mountain oysters, it's like they disappeared in about 3 seconds, but I'm sure it took probably 10 minutes, because they was just throwing them back, man. They, dip, right in the mouth they'd go. Chew them up, man, kept talking about how good they were. Of course, I had a few. I kind of had mine, and I was like, well, Daddy, or they was like, well, Daddy, how come you eating a steak? And I said, well, because I don't have that much of this stuff, and I wanted you boys to be able to eat it if you liked it, and if you didn't, I'd switch with you, and I'll cut the steak in half, and y'all can have a steak. I don't care. So anyway, we get down to the bottom of the platter, and there's one mountain oyster left, a single one, and it's almost in the middle of that platter. And we was all looking at each other going, well, who's going to get the last one? My oldest son reached over, picked up that mountain oyster, turned it around in his hand, and he goes, ball. Threw it back, chewed it up. As he was chewing, I kind of leaned across the table a little bit, and I went, you right. Well, all at once he quit chewing. He goes, what? And I said, actually, what you've been eating is called a mountain oyster. And both them boys got this puzzled look on their face, and they're looking at one another, and finally my oldest says, well, what's a mountain oyster? I said, well, every year at Brandin, I talk about, how enjoyable and relaxing it is, but it's hard work. Well, yeah. I said, and I encouraged y'all to come out here for Brandin this year, right? Well, yeah, but we couldn't come out that early. Well, if you'd have come out here for Brandin, you'd know that what you've been eating is mountain oysters. What's a mountain oyster? I said, remember when you said ball? Yeah. I said, that ball came out from under and in betwixt a little cow's legs. That's bull's balls. They call them mountain oysters. Both of them kind of got this sick look on their face. And then all of a sudden, my oldest son's looking around going, well, they pretty doggone good. And I said, yep, that's my boy. Anyway, that's how he got to liking mountain oysters. And, he's even found several places where he can order mountain oysters off the menu. So y'all need to look for them sometime. If you ain't never had them, you need to try them because they're good. Don't think about where they come from. Think about how delicious them things is after they've been fried golden brown. And you got my mouth is watering again. And you got you some good dipping sauce. Oh, that stuff, that's almost as good as coffee. Y'all excuse me. Me and a buddy was riding around the other day. And I told him I'd been thinking about, I wonder if they had coffee back in them olden times. Like back during biblical days. Like, for instance, when Moses was leading his people out of Egypt, you think he had coffee to drink? My buddy goes, well, I don't think they did. And then we rode on for, 8, 9 more miles, and he finally spoke up and he says, if and he did, how you think he cooked it? I thought about it a second, and I figured, well, I guess he brewed it. You get it? He brewed it. See, it's a Jewish thing. Moses, he brewed his coffee. Okay. Well, that's all I got for you today. I suggest you just go and get your cup of coffee. The Lord knows I need some more coffee. Y'all don't, hey, as serious as I can be now, y'all don't be telling my wife about my morning coffee when she's gone. 'Cause she don't know about that part of it yet, okay? Now, she did ask me the other day, she says, now, where's that last quart of shine I got? And I said, well, I don't know what you did with it. Anyway, y'all don't tell her, all right? I appreciate it. So anyway, y'all go and get your coffee. All right? That's all I got. I'm telling you, go and get your coffee. Get up, up, and go get your coffee.